Very, very right, Virginia. I hope everyone's having a nice song. It's a really good song. But let's get started. It's Thursday. Welcome back. Hi Mama Helps webinar. If you're joining us for your first time, hey, welcome. You're in for a treat. Please do as well make sure to change your chat up to all panelists, all attendees. This way everyone can see what's happening, what's going on. As always, though, let's get started into the housekeeping pieces before we dive into today. But if you've never joined us before, and if you're returning, you will know I am not your face of legal advice. Nobody here is. You do not need me as a legal advisor, trust me. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that you guys are taking away good tips, tricks, techniques, all of those sorts of great things. If you're looking at making any changes, whether you are a parent, director, teacher, whoever it may be, any changes that you think you should be seeking some sort of support on, whether that be legal, financial, or even licensing, make sure that you're talking to the right people and getting the right information from them, okay, before you make anything drastic. Of course, we're talking drastic. We're not talking anything at the minor side. Before we jump in, let's start with our land acknowledgement.
Hi Mama acknowledges that our main headquarters is situated in Toronto, Ontario, on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Toronto itself is a word that originates from the Mohawk word takaranto, meaning the place in the water where the trees are standing. As participants and guests in today's webinar, we are coming together from many different places around the world. We encourage you to learn about and acknowledge the land from which you participate.
And then we're just going to jump into our diversity and inclusion statement.
Hi Mama is committed to fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment for our employees, customers, and community. Hi Mama welcomes and celebrates individuals of all backgrounds, orientations, and identities. Our Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee aims to ensure we provide a safe environment for everyone to thrive while bringing their authentic selves to work. Our mission is to promote an inclusive workspace for all employees through education, discussion, and celebration of our differences. Embracing these differences while coming together with a common purpose is what makes our team extra special.
Housekeeping, as always, folks, the full session is fully recorded, and we will be sending it out later with the show notes early next week. If you're looking for closed captions, please do hit the CC tab and it will turn that on for you. We're also recording with that on, so hopefully if any of you folks do need it, you do have that available to you. You will also have it for the recording as well. Everything will be sent out early next week. Certificates with the show notes and other resources, slides, everything will be sent out to you. So please, please just be patient while we get them out to you, but they will be coming. Last but not least, if you're having any connection issues, if you're having any issues with Zoom specifically, please do reach out to support.zoom.us. They know their product the best, can help you at the best. I have a husband IT for a reason. Before we jump into today, though, I want to do a quick little poll. I'm just going to launch that up here. First, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us a little bit more about how you're feeling right now with the impacts of COVID. Like I'd mentioned before, here in Ontario, we've had some pretty big announcements over the last few 2 weeks, really last week, though. We've had our federal budget announced with lots happening there, as well as, some more restrictions due to our rising cases. On the same side, I know that there's been a lot happening down in the States right now, and you folks have been dealing with a lot on your end as well. So I'd love to just know kind of what's happening, how you're feeling. I'll give you guys a general big COVID fatigue. I hear you. I think we're all kind of at the point, I think we're all kind of fed up, I won't lie. But at the same side, we're also trying to stay strong, keep going, carry on as we are. So we're looking, hey, great, folks. We have about 60% about teachers here. Fantastic. Glad you all can get here and be with us for the hour, as well as most folks are feeling anywhere from around to things are sort of improving to about the same. There's hope. There is hope coming. I'm going to give it one more second here for folks to answer the poll. And then David, doing okay out there. I hope everyone feels a little enlightened after today. I hope so. I hope that you guys take away some great light from your Thursdays here. All right, I'm going to end the poll, folks. So you won't be able to access that anymore, but I'll give you some final results. Roughly around 40% said you guys are feeling about the same on the impacts of COVID, and we have a great amount of teachers here. Fantastic to have you all here with us today. Very, very happy to have you. So, of course, I downloaded the results, guys, and they all got to keep this is for fun, and they all showed. Oh, well, no worries. Let's jump in. Intros. If you've never been here before, folks, I'm Ria. I am one of the community ambassadors here at Hi Mama. I'm also a registered early childhood educator. I spent 6 years in the classroom, and fun fact for you guys today, I don't really have too many, but it's Earth Day. And I hope if you can get out safely, get out, do some cleanup. This is the time to do it. Spring is here. Hopefully we've seen the last of the snow. And folks, it's just a great time to be outside if the weather's nice. Hopefully over the coming weekend. On the chat, we have the lovely Miss Kaya. Kaya is also an educator. She's on our social media day in and day out, getting great information out to you. Kaya, get on here. Any fun facts for us today, Kaya? I know I've already got the Earth Day one. What about you?
I guess a fun fact would be that I just got my first dose of vaccine today. It was a really surreal moment, especially being here in Toronto in a hot spot in Ontario and in Canada. So if you are eligible for a vaccine, please go get it. Even if you're patiently awaiting, and I know a lot of folks, especially in Toronto here, are trying to get on those lists, just keep trying, keep trying. If you're curious about like any of the lists, just message me on social media. I'm more than happy to chat about it with you. You can just hop over to our Hi Mom on social media. I will have that conversation with you. Or even if you're a little bit worried about vaccines, we put out a fantastic webinar, I think back in February, maybe early March on that.
Early
So I'm going
March,
to
yeah.
plug, I'm going to plug that in. We had a virologist with us and he was phenomenal. So I'm going to go plug that into the chat now. If you even are just a little bit worried about vaccines, I'm going to plug that in because I encourage everyone to get one if you're able to.
100%. I hope folks are I've seen in the chat, lots of folks who are actually fully vaccinated. Some of you are in the process of getting vaccinated. So it's fantastic to see. Hopefully we see some reprieve in the coming weeks. So stay safe, everybody. All right, enough about that stuff. Let's get into the fun stuff. I want to welcome our special guest, Ron. Ron, we did a podcast with you. Come on and join us here. We did a podcast with you not too long ago. I can't exactly remember, but I listened to it myself. It was fantastic. He did it with Ron, our CEO. Here he is, everybody. Ron, maybe before we get into all the fun of today, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Ron Shuali, and today what we're going to do is we're going to have fun learning about behavior. I love wearing silly hats and costumes. Unfortunately, today I wasn't able to find a wig, so this is my normal hair. And my world is about making a difference for people. I started working with kids in 2001. After I took this amazing seminar called the Landmark Forum, I started as a preschool karate teacher. And then after in an actual karate dojo, and then I'm going to take this off because it just, everything's gone. I just wanted to pattern interrupt everybody. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I started working at a karate school as a karate teacher. And then 2.5 years went by, and I got an opportunity to kind of expand out. I was doing a karate birthday party, and one of the teachers, so a director from a Goddard school, it's a chain, like 500 schools all over the country, came up to me and said, can you do this in a preschool? I've been doing improv my whole entire life. She's like, do you have lesson plans? Do you have curriculum? And my world is yes and. I'm not oppositional. Yes and. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Curriculum, lesson plans, not a big deal. Have that. Note to self, create lesson plans and curriculum. How hard could it be to work with preschool kids, right? And it was interesting because I walked into the preschool after we set up the program, and then I put my spots down, and I came from a karate school where the kids would say yes sir and yes ma'am, and then I told the kids to go stand on their circles, and this kid told me no. Have you ever heard that from a child? Like, no, like what? And my mind goes, what do you mean no? I'm an adult. I know what's best for you, blah, blah, this and that. Like immediately ego just kicked right in. And then the other part of me, my sales mind went in like, okay, so this kid doesn't want to do what he wants. This child does not want to do what I want them to do. When I was a little kid, I would stare out the window. I would ask, why is this important to me? I never want to do anything. And nobody was able to figure out a way for me to choose to change my behaviors. So my mind went into, I gotta sell this kid. It's sales. I did sales before with early childhood. How do I get this child who's a human being to choose to change their behaviors so that it benefits them and it benefits me? And that's when the whole adventure of my behavior program started to now where it is right now, where this is behavior mastery.
I love this, Ron. I'm super excited. Let's get into it. Maybe let's talk about a couple of things that you're going to cover today before we do dive into all the fun stuff. This is the exciting part. So.
Yeah. Okay, so, this is me. Okay, got it. So,
This is you, man.
Awesome. I keep forgetting it's a webinar. I'm like, this is an interview? Okay, so today we're going to learn 4 tools to interrupt unwanted behaviors instantly. They're called pattern interrupts. When I came on the screen, if you weren't paying attention, that's fine because I didn't do an auditory pattern interrupt, but you saw my wig and you went, what? And you weren't expecting that. That's a pattern interrupt. It's a hiccup that's going to have your brain all of a sudden refocus. I'm going to teach you 3 different ways how to actually give a child an instruction or a command by not giving them an instruction or a command. We don't like to be told what to do. Why would you think a child likes to be told what to do? Just because what, you're the adult or whatever? So these are 3 techniques that has the initial oppositional wall that comes up for some kids and some adults. You know, how many of you are married? Okay. And all of a sudden, what these techniques, the pre-frames designed to do is go around that wall. So there's not going to be an oppositional thing. Don't tell me what to do, because we're never going to tell the child what to do, but the kid's also going to know what we want them to do. The 2 things that we're going to talk about is it's a 5-part system. And basically part 1 and 2 are for the 95% of your kids. Betas, followers, nothing wrong with it. If you get triggered by that word, that's you triggering yourself. Take responsibility for it. There's people that are followers. There's people that are leaders. I love being a leader and I love being a follower. I work with this amazing school called My Life, My Power down in Florida, where I'm not in charge. I just train their trainers, and I like it where other responsibilities there. So there's kids that are leaders. Those are the alphas. Usually it's the boy and the girl. You know, one, they run the classroom already. So why not get them to join us and help us run the classroom? So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. And the last part, unemotional look, to negate an unknowing negative reinforcer, meaning when you do something and when a child displays a behavior and then your face contorts or your face does, or Miss Susie's very disappointed, all that stuff, it doesn't matter. The kid looks at you and the kid's like, oh, your face just contorted. Cool. And it just went this and went that. So now I know what to do to get you to display that behavior again. So I'm going to teach you a look that has no emotion. And that's the party that we're going to have. Woo!
I'm so excited, Ron. I just wanted to plug as well. If you guys have questions for Ron as he's come up, pop them into the Q&A, and I'll probably interrupt you, Ron. But let you get you into this, and let's get you started on today.
Okay. So if I say up, you say
down.
If I say left, you say
right.
If I say stop, you say
go.
Okay, got it. And I'm looking at the same thing in the chat too. So congratulations, Ria and everybody else that said the opposite. You all have oppositional defiance disorder. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yay!
Congratulations. Hey, listen, how many people do you know just label kids? So why not? Let's just throw labels out there. Why choose to be responsible that we're going to have to work harder? Let's label. I'm so kidding. That's called opposite day. Remember opposite day? You can't do that on television. Anybody remember that? Okay, cool. So, Alistair. So, understanding that we're always oppositional is huge, because like imagine when you walk into a store and the person that's job is to be designed to come up to you and say, hi, can I help you? That person asks you, can I help you? Because they know where everything else is in the store. And then you, of course, say,
no,
I'm good. And then they walk away and you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I don't know where anything is. I only got a half hour to shop on my break. And now I literally have to figure out where this one thing is instead of just asking the person. And then you spend the rest of the time like ducking around, hiding from that one person, looking for another person, because it's initially oppositional. And that's how our minds are designed. And there's nothing wrong with it. Whatever designed us, whatever your belief system is, we just don't like to be told what to do. And we're most of the time an immediate no. So understanding how your mind works, it will allow you to catch it. Because, for example, like I was born in Israel. My parents are military parents, everybody this and that. They yelled at me. Okay. How many of you ever got yelled at? Raise your hand. Okay, got it. Well, that's what they knew. They weren't educators. They yelled at me. What they didn't understand was they were creating what's called a win-lose relationship, where they yelled at me. I felt diminished. And we're going to talk about win-lose in a little bit. I felt diminished. And then they felt empowered. they gave themselves, which they didn't even realize they're doing, a chemical release, because when you feel right about something, then your brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin into your brain. So it's like there's so many different things that we do automatically and oppositionally that we don't even like to do. Like, how many of you like to be wrong? Raise your hand. How many of you like to be right? Raise your hand. And it's not, I didn't even say about what. It doesn't make a difference. It's just something, but that is innate to us because we don't realize, like, we make up stories in our mind. Me being right means this. Me being right means that. I have to make another person wrong. But we don't understand is when we're right about something and when we make somebody else wrong, we disconnect like energy cords with that person. I do a lot of Reiki, so I may do like energy talk too. But we disconnect between the other person. So when you're yelling at a child, when you're giving instruction to a child, when you're doing anything other than just looking at that child and going, how do I communicate to you so that you get what I want, I don't get upset, and it's both win-win? So that's going to be the adventure as well, because what's going to happen is your mind, your voice in your head. Yeah, that one. That's why I paused. Your voice in your head is going to be chatting the whole entire time. How many of you knew this was a behavior training and you already came in and you heard your voice in your head already go, this isn't going to work for my kids. You don't know my kids. This isn't this. I've tried, I've tried everything. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Your mind wants to be right. Your mind wants to be in control. I offer you an opportunity to, just for this moment and just for the next 40 minutes or so, alleviate yourself of being right, alleviate yourself of being in control, in hopes that you can learn knowledge, and knowledge that is going to transform your classroom. I've been teaching in early childhood for 15 years. I can get your kids to pay attention and do what I want them to do in 20 seconds using my techniques. Now I'm going to pause so that your mind can make up a story about it. Did your mind make up a story going, ooh, I'm excited, this is great, this is new tools? Or did your mind make up a story going, it's not going to work, but you never tried it? So noticing your mind and how it operates will benefit you not only for this workshop and webinar, but for the rest of your life if you become aware of your automatic patterns. And that's what we're going to talk about. First thing we're going to do is pattern interrupt. Okay, so we talked about this. When I said up, you said down. When I said left, you said right. When I say stop, you said go. We're all designed to be oppositional initially. Why? Because we've been taught to make decisions with our mind. And we haven't really been taught that there's also two other parts of our body that we can make decisions from: our mind, our heart, our gut. So if all of a sudden the child displays a behavior and your mind goes, he shouldn't be like that. Okay, so you can respond and react, make it win, lose, or you can go, okay, hold on a second. So I'm about to react with my mind. Let's go into my heart. He's having a bad day. Let's go into my gut. I could probably try this and that technique. And then if you go into all three information centers, then you can make a choice. And usually if you make one with your heart or you make one with your gut, it's more beneficial to everyone, especially the world. It's Earth Day. Out of all the days for me to be doing this webinar, it's on the day that we're impacting the Earth. It's amazing. We can literally, the something resonance, where if we actually completely change our vibrational, the Schumer resonance, I think, and then it changes the whole entire planet. How many of you have ever created an expectation for another human being? Anyone? How many of you create an expectation for your kid, your children, your students, or somebody that you live with? Okay. How many of you have created an expectation for another human being? Think about that human. Ready? Comma. Never shared the expectation with them. When they don't fulfill the expectation that they know nothing about because you didn't tell them, who do you get mad at? How does that make sense? It doesn't. So there's going to be, like I'm going to talk about alphas later, there's going to be two types of people that are watching this. 95% of the people, the betas, the followers, nothing wrong with it, I'm saying. Okay, if you say there's something wrong with it, your mind is saying something wrong with it, not me. Okay, I just want to be clear on that. I'm not taking the responsibility of you making up stories about what I said. So there's 95% of people that are going to listen. They'll take some of the tools. And there's the 5%, the alphas that are already watching, that are intrigued about this, that like my energy. They like what's going on. And they're going to be so open to doing this. And I'm going to also say some things that the alphas are going to be interested in and the betas are not. And there's nothing wrong with it. Does that make sense? Like, how many of you want to be CEO of a company? How many of you just would rather just, work at your job and get paid what you deserve and just be joyous and happy? So my request of you is, when you create expectation for another person, never tell them about the expectation, and then all of a sudden, when they don't fulfill the expectation, you get mad at them. Just realize that you did this to yourself. Like, I'm going to create an expectation for every single person on this webinar right now. Ready, set, go. Ria, like, nobody did it. Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? Oh, what, you want me to tell you the expectation? Oh, so I expected everybody to go YMCA and sit back down or stand up and do it. Nobody did it. I'm 100%. Should I be mad at you? Absolutely. Because guess what? You should have done it. You should have done it. There's that word. The word that, if you slowly remove it from your vocabulary, will have you access so much joy and happiness. When you say the word should, you're literally right there. When you say should, you're creating an expectation and you're setting yourself up going, let's see, I'm having such a happy day. How can I possibly upset myself? Well, the parents should pick their kids up on time. Now they're not. The parents are going to get there when the parents get there. But all of a sudden, they should pick their kids up on time. Or this child should listen to me. Or I should get a raise. And then you're shoulding all over everybody. Should, SHOULD. You're shoulding all over everybody. You're creating expectations. They're just being the way that they're going to be, and you're getting upset, but you're doing this to yourself. I don't want you to do that. Change 2 letters to 1, should to could. That's it. He should be on time. Could be on time. He should follow my directions. He could follow my directions. My husband should get me gifts on this day, and he should remember. He could remember. When was the last time you mentioned it? Well, when we got married 20 years ago, I told him, and he should. Wow, you've been holding that for 20 years. How's that working for you? That's something I ask all the time. This is not my webinar. This is yours. I ask, how's it working for you? How does it benefit you? How does it provide you value? I'm not preaching anything. These are just words and sounds coming out of my mouth. Don't listen to a single thing I say. It doesn't matter. You don't have to. You get to choose what you believe because you're an intelligent, responsible, powerful adult. You're an intelligent, powerful, responsible adult. So you get to choose what to believe out of anything that I say. If you find something of value and you say, oh, and later on, I should this and that, and then all of a sudden I could try this instead. All of a sudden, wow, like freedom. It's amazing. So, all right, cool. Let's go. Because I'm like, this is behavior mastery. And okay. So let me see what time we're at. I don't want to miss time. Okay.
It's
so so Ria. Wow. Okay. Why should your kids, sorry, I didn't mean to shit on you. I apologize. Why should your kids follow your directions? Now, here's the thing. Ready? I didn't say, why should your kids listen to you? Because that's an automatic pattern that we're so brainwashed and stuck in when we say to our kids, are you being a good listener? Do you have your listening ears on? You're not listening to me. And the kids are looking at you like, I heard every word you just said. You literally just said, you don't have your listening ears on. How do I know that? Because I'm listening with my ears. See, everybody's always listening. When that kid is on the other side of the room and you're whispering into your phone in that area of the center where the camera doesn't see, and that child goes like that, they hear everything. They listen all the time. They just choose not to follow your directions because it's not benefiting them.
I can't, like, at this point too, I would have to say I'm so guilty of should. The idea, like, they should just do this, and like my mind is blown right now. But then on the same side, as soon as you said, like, why should your children listen, and I'm like, or sorry, not listen, but why should your children? And then I automatically went to listen. Though.
Yes.
Like that's where I went right away.
Because you're programmed, and there's nothing wrong with it. We are the artificial intelligence that we've been searching for. We're programmed. If you don't believe you're programmed, when was the last time you drove in your car? All of a sudden, you brainwashed, you're out, you daydreamed, and you're 10 miles up the road in a 65 mile per hour or 100 kilometer mile per hour machine. You don't have to tell yourself, walk left, walk right, walk left, walk, I'm going to fall over. No, we're machines, and our brain, this is the most powerful liquid computer. But the thing is that people get upset because of what the computer does. But you haven't been communicating to the child's computer in the right language yet. You've been communicating in a language that makes sense for you, but you're at least 20 years older than them.
And then that language is very, very different.
Absolutely. My language is, do I want you running around? Do I want you doing that? And then the kids are like, oh, you speak us. I'm like, bro,
You
yeah,
us.
you speak us. I mean, but it's, I took improv classes. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody earlier this morning. College should take out, when you go to when education, get rid of all the stupid classes you don't need. You're going to education. You don't need botany and science and chemistry. I don't know how it is in the Canada. In the United States, the college system is just money. It's ridiculous. And what if you actually took out the first year of college where you don't learn anything about education, and you put in classes like improv, like comedy, like understanding an audience? You got a pro wrestler that I used to do for 10 years to go in there and see, this is a crowd, this is what you do, this is how you get their attention, this is what you do for kinesthetic, this is what you do for visual.
100%. Let's talk. Your hair looks great. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Okay.
Let's talk about the win-lose, win-win.
Okay, so any conversation that you have with the child, you get to make a choice from now on, because I'm introducing you to this concept. So now that I introduce you to this concept, like I said, the oppositional up, down, left, right, whatever. Okay, so it's like next time you walk into a store and you automatically say, no, thank you. Then you can go, oh, wow, robot just turned back on. Excuse me, sir, I actually do need your help. And they'll light up going, wow. And then you just made it win-win. See, win-lose is when you do something to give yourself a dose of endorphins, or you want to feel right, you want to feel in control, and another person is left diminished. When you say things like, I told you, what did we just talk about? You're making somebody wrong. You don't want that person to really flourish. You want that person to feel diminished and down. Okay, lose win, it's the opposite, same exact thing. When a child displays a behavior and they look at you and that kid goes up to you and goes, 3-year-old goes, I don't love you. And then you go, oh my God, I don't love you. What did I do? And the kid goes to his friend, wow, that really works. And he's like, yeah, my brother just did to my mom. He's 6 years old. And the kid's like, oh, wow, look at you. But you lose because you respond. And the kid wins because he just got Melissa McCarthy or Kevin Hart or Jim Carrey or Chris Farley to just start performing again, because that's what we do for them. Win-win is how we bring humanity together. Win-win is when any behavior, any action you take, the first thing you think about is, what would I want somebody to do for me? What could I do to help that other person? And then how would it benefit them? And then it's like, cool. And I feel good doing it. Win-win. It's not easy. We're programmed competition, but
we are.
Yeah, but not in preschool.
No. And kind of that sets up the tone too. If you're teaching them to do that win-win mentality from day one, then you're setting them up for so much more success, right?
Correct.
Like as an educator, you're instead of taking that win-lose or lose-win sort of mentality upon themselves, moving forward in life, they're going to be balancing that win-win idea in their brain.
Absolutely. And imagine if you take it to elementary school and middle school and high school, where it's like you look at another person's paper, that's cheating. But any other world, it's collaboration, it's team building. So get that whole concept out of if you're going to do it, let everybody work together. Some kids want to work alone. Some kids want to work in a group. Let them do whatever they want. I mean, I love child-led preschools because they come in with such spiritual knowledge and such a stream of consciousness from wherever they come in at 3 and 4 and 5, especially if you know about crystal children, indigo children, things like that. And they have limitless knowledge, which is why I love that I'm an educer more than an educator. Education is pumping information. Memorize this, memorize this. Educing, if you look up educe, E-D-U-C-E, educe is to draw from. So when I look at my kids and I go, what do you want to work on today? And my alphas, they immediately know. I don't even have to worry about it. I'm not going to have something to do. My alphas already know, where I give them a list.
That or they're already off doing it probably.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. I love how you spell behavior.
You said alphas. Let's talk betas.
Okay.
Here we go. Pattern interrupt.
Okay, so if you're listening, hands in the air. If you're listening, touch your nose. If you're listening, touch your ears. If you're listening, touch your toes. All right, so do we have to go over head, shoulders, knees, and toes? I'm kidding. Okay, so a pattern interrupt, like my hair in the beginning, like what I just did right now, that's all it is. Tony Robbins calls it a state change. It's something that you do to interrupt the flow of the brain. If you're thinking this, all of a sudden a pattern interrupt, a hiccup, if you heard a noise outside, if you heard a piece of glass breaking, your mind goes over here and you're wondering what happened to that piece of glass, whatever it is. So pattern interrupt is the first part of the 5-part program. You have to do it only if you want the kid's attention. If you want to do win-win, you got to pattern interrupt for everything. If you want to do win-lose, you don't pattern interrupt, give a kid instruction and blame the kid even though they weren't even paying attention to you. Make sense? So that's where the win-win-win-lose comes in. So this is early childhood. Everybody sings songs. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Right? I mean, so if you have a classroom of kids or you're in a family childcare, whatever, and you want all the kids' attention, instead of Joey, Billy, Susie, stop doing this. What did I tell you? Instead of doing that, you go like, oh, McDonald had a farm, and every kid goes, what? Like they have stuff in it, and like E-I-E-I-O. And then what I do is I make it what I do is I make it 2 levels where I do it for the betas and I do it for the alphas. So for example, what I'll do is I'll E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm we had and then some kids will say something, and then I'll go cow pig, and I'll go, okay, fine, with the moo here and the moo there. So the alphas are thinking because their brains are working faster, the gifted ones, so they can actually do it more. Songs are great. If that doesn't work, I do accents. I change my voice. Your ears have no choice but to listen. The hairs on your ears, it's an auditory cue. And what happens is when you do it, like I could do New York, how you doing? I could do Tony Soprano. I could do Ray Donovan. Hey, Audrey, corner. It doesn't matter. When you change your voice and you start talking to the kids, they're immediately engaged. Now, what's your mind saying to you? How many of you are going, I can't wait to sing songs. I can't wait to do accents. By the way, you're not auditioning for Saturday Night Live. How many of you and your voice in your head that doesn't help you and sabotages you and judges you and evaluates you is going, I'm not going to do that. Got it. Fine. If that works for you, if that benefits you, if that gives you value, if you don't want your kids to be as happy as they could be, fine, choose win, lose. And when this workshop's over, the webinar's over, you're still going to be around you. So you get to actually change. Okay. One thing I do when I work with special needs, because we're all atomic, like we're constantly vibrating, but we think we're solid, is I do a lot of humming. So when I work with superpower kids, gifted kids, kids that are neurodiverse, what I do when I get their pattern is I want them to actually vibrate so they feel what it's like for their body. So I start with the letter A. So let's try it. Big belly breath in. And I go, Now check in with yourself and see how you feel. We only did it for like 7 seconds. If you like this, okay, let's go for an O sound. Ready? O face. Ready? Go. Now, how do you feel? Do you feel more calm? Do you feel more like
Grounded?
Grounded, right? Because
Yeah.
we're vibrating. That's it. I mean, look, we call kids bipolar. What else is bipolar? The planet. Okay, so, but they're wrong. Do you see how there's so many things that we say are backwards that doesn't make sense? So anyway, the last one I like to do is animal noises. I think every early childhood educator, my opinion only, needs to understand how to do animal noises. I mean, if I tell people do a bear noise and they go, rawr, I'm like, no, come on, rawr, like that. I mean, but you got to practice. I actually was watching online videos how to do elephant noises. If you want to try this, I'm going to give you 2 chances to do it. So let's try. Ready? So all you do is first wet your lips. Like that. Okay, now you're going to press your lips down together as hard as you can. And once your lips are pressed down together, you're going to blow air out of your mouth, but keeping it compressed. I'm going to do it first. Ready? Like this. Ready, set, go. Okay.
It sort of worked.
Okay, one more time. Press it down together. Now press your lips super down together. Like, okay, also, how about this? Pull your lips back like you just took your dentures out. Go like this, and then go like that. Okay, and then try it that way. Then you get more lippage. Ready, set.
Almost. I've now spit all over my computer screen, but
Exactly.
it's okay.
It's fine. If kids spit on you, you got to get back at them. So
Exactly.
try it. Why not? So those are the pattern interrupts. Everything starts with pattern interrupts. If you don't have the kids' attention, if they're not looking at you and listening at you and towards you and with you and whatever else you come up with, then why would you expect anything to make sense? It's like you driving, a cop is behind you, and then they pull up next to you and they start with the megaphone, pull over. And then they pull you over and they go, why didn't you pull over? And you're like, I didn't see your lights on. Well, I didn't have your lights on, but you should have known I was wanting you to pull over. Like that. But that's it. So pattern interrupt, get their attention immediately. My 5-year-old was looking at me like I'm crazy. You are crazy. You're in early childhood. Good for you. Crazy is great. You're never going to survive against your little crazy. Okay.
If you're not a little crazy as an early childhood educator, then I want to know A, what the secret is, and B, where did you go wrong? That's what I want to know.
I want to know. If you're not crazy, I want to know. Can I help you be crazy?
That too.
Great TED Talk. JP Sears, if you know who he is, got long red hair with a hippie like that. He's got a great TED Talk called Being Weird, and why we don't let ourselves be self-expressed, because people, not me, but people are trying to pretend to be the person that they think other people want them to be. Think about that. People are not being their own self-expression and being goofy with their kids and while their kids are loving them, because in their mind they make up a story. This is how I think, not they've been told. This is how I think others want me to be, so I'm going to be that way. You ever want to check in with them? Nah, I'll just stay in my own brain. So anyway, all right, so pre-frame. So pattern Ruff, meow, hello everybody. Fine. So now the kids are looking at you. I like the way you probably use this already. I like the way you're sitting crisscross. I like the way you're sitting crisscross. I love the way that you're sitting crisscross. And then what happens? Even if the kids aren't doing it, they turn into crisscrossatrons. You're like, and the kids just go crisscross. That's it. And then we do other cues, auditory cues. I'm going to ask you a question. Rhea, ready? Is my favorite color green or is my favorite color blue?
Blue.
How'd you know?
The
Good
tone of your
job.
voice.
Because I changed. So now, is my favorite TV show Walking Dead, or is my favorite TV show America's Got Talent?
America's Got Talent.
Good job. High five. Awesome. So you know what the answer is both times. I don't have to raise my voice. I'm loud. I raise my voice. If you're not a loud person, then you can go quiet. You can go quiet. My husband thinks I lost my marbles. Good for you. Lose them.
I'm glad.
Whoever got marbles, they're dangerous. Unless you throw them on the floor, they're more fun that way to watch people. Anyway, so that auditory is a good way to do it. Now, visual cues are like this. It's like, do I want you cleaning up for snack, or do I want you going to one of the water tables? Which one?
Water table.
How'd you know? But that's it. It's so simple. It's so simple that you do it. So ready? So part 1, pattern interrupt. Roof, meow, hello. Part 2, I like the way you're lining up to go outside. I like the way you're lining up to go outside. Do I want you to be sitting at your table or lining up to go outside? So there's no chance if you pattern interrupted and you pre-frame, like there's no way there's one kid. I don't care if I've done this and there's a kid in the potty and I hear the kid in the potty go, outside, don't forget about. I'm like, all right, dude, we got you, right? So, but that's how well the pattern interrupts and the pre-frames work. I don't give an instruction. And then you do the combination like I just showed you. By the way, there's tons of videos on my YouTube channel about me breaking down these and demonstrating them in workshops. So don't worry about it. There's handouts. It's all good. Okay, next one. So in part 1, part 2 is for the betas. Now you got the alphas, the ones that you go, Tanzania. I'll come anywhere. I'll go in, when Earth 2 is ready, I'm there too. Space Station, let's do a preschool on there, international. Awesome. So part 1, pattern interrupt. Part 2, pre-frame. Part 3 is the power look, okay? Because here's the deal. When you say to the kids, you get their attention. If you're listening, hands in the air, touch your nose, woof, meow, bark, whatever it is, and then go, do I want you running or do I want you sitting on the rug for circle time? All the kids are sitting on the rug for circle time, except her or except him. They're standing right in front of you. and they're looking at you, and they got the Heath Ledger sinister Joker look on their face, and they're going, you want me running around? And in their mind, it goes, now make the face. Oh, make the face where the vein starts going like that. And then you do it. If you had the power to be able to hit a button, and Chris Farley can just, I mean, when he was alive, kind of weird now, but when Chris Farley comes out and you're just like, I'm bored, hit the button, living in a van down by the river, and then do like that, you're done. And then the next thing you need, all of a sudden it's like, okay, cool. I got a Barney button. I hit the Barney button, and you want this teacher to look, I love you, you love me. So it's like these kids are just pushing buttons that the teachers are creating for the kids to push. I'm going to say that again. The teachers are creating buttons for the kids and then getting mad at the kids when they're pushing the buttons because of your facial response. So when I was watching this show called Lie to Me on Fox years ago with Tim Roth, he played this guy, Dr. Cal Lightman. Okay. Cal Lightman was a lie detection specialist. He would look at people, but he'd look at them crooked like this because he's not looking at the face and the symmetry. He's looking for micro expressions. What these are, if you get mad at somebody, that could be a little micro expression there. It's based on the studies of Dr. Paul Ekman, who totally like helped out the show. But anything, if you think that you lied to someone and then you got away with it, but that was overdone. The micro expressions are so small, so tiny. But guess what? These kids are FBI profilers. They've been doing this since they were 6 months old. You pick, they take you give them a bottle of water, and then the bottle of water, then they throw it on the ground. And then what do? You pick up the bottle of water, but then you also make a face. You go to the kid because you're programmed, because you haven't done this. You go to the kid and you go, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. All they hear is like that. It's like the baby from Dinosaurs. Not the mama, not the mama, not the mama. So, so it's like and then also all the baby saw was like that. And then the baby went, oh, when I threw the bottle on the ground. Oh, boom. Oh, okay, cool. Boom again. Then two other babies going, and then now the teacher's getting more upset, and her face turning red. I don't want to. Why are they throwing the bottles on the ground? This and that. And the babies are talking to each other. They're like, and they're basically saying, it's like, keep throwing stuff. I can't wait till the food gets here. This is insane. It's like it's 9:30. I'm here till 6, and then teachers lose their minds, but they don't realize they play right into the kids. So here's the power look. I'm going to show you the power look in after I acknowledge two other kids. How much time we got?
We're still good. You got, I want to say like 6 minutes, and then we'll have to do questions.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to see this up real quick. Okay, so I'm going to talk a lot faster, and then we'll be able to do it. So power look, top of the forehead. Here's the deal. Ready? I love the way you're following my directions. I love the way you're following my directions. You're doing such a great job. Then I see a child over here purposely doing something I don't want them to do, and I go, I so appreciate. You are following my directions so well. I love when you do what I... So the power look is not in the eyes. I know when I say the power look, your brain already goes into some people. Oh, I already do that. Got it. You want to be right. You want to be in control. Got it. How's that working for you? It's not the mother's look. The power look is when you're looking at the top of the forehead. Right now, I'm looking at the camera. So when I look at a child's eyes and their eyes are lit up, especially crystal children with the blue sparkly eyes, the kids that are going to impact the planet, it's amazing. But when you drop down to their eyes and they're so cute. And they do the big eye thing like Puss in Boots from Shrek. And you're like, oh, you're so adorable. While they're like doing hand signals to the kids behind them to be like, okay, go knock this over and go push this kid over. So the power look is two parts. When the power look is when you look at the top of the forehead and you hum a song to yourself or you sing a song. My song in my head, no joke, 15 years, never changed it. Row, row, row your boat. So in my mind, it's like, I love the way you're following. Woof! Oh, you're looking at me. Good. I love the way that you're sitting crisscross. I love the way you're sitting crisscross. Do I want you standing or sitting crisscross? And then the kid does it, and I go, and in my mind right now, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, because I don't even want my sabotaging mind that I've been doing this for 15 years. And so there you go. I had the power look with my class, didn't have to say anything. They stopped, did it. Okay, awesome. So power look, top of the forehead, okay? Now, here's the deal. Unique positive reinforcers. You're going to have your alphas. They're bored out of their mind. They don't care about what's going on. I was like that person. I mean, I was, looking out the window, thinking about pro wrestling, thinking about acting, thinking about this and that. If you ask your kids, what's your favorite dinosaur? Most of them will go, oh, T-Rex. If you would have asked me when I was a little kid, I would have said, you talking omnivore, herbivore, carnivore? Are you talking the Allosaurus, like a smaller T-Rex, the Brontosaurus and Brachiosaurus that have 4 legs, the pterodactyl? What about the spiked ones like the Stegosaurus and the Ankylosaurus? Nobody ever asked me. No guidance counselor ever cared. No one asked me what my passion was in life. My parents don't even know I like dinosaurs. And I would have been Indiana Jones. But the universe has me do this so I can have you work with your alphas to have them understand how to get to their unique positive reinforcer. On my YouTube channel, I have a playlist called the School Playlist where I show different kids from different parts of the planet. This kid, DJ Fresh, his name is Arch Jr. He won the youngest Got Talent on the planet, South Africa's Got Talent, at 3 years old as a DJ. But if I told you that your kid wants to be a DJ, would you make up stories? I don't even know what a DJ is, and that's win-lose. Or would you go, tell me about being a DJ? And you sit down next to them and you hand them the iPad and they show it to you. And then when they're 20 and they're making cajillions dollars, then maybe they'll invite you to their yacht or something like that. So unique positive reinforcers like this. Okay, here we go. Think about your alpha boy, think about your alpha girl. What's their favorite thing to talk about? They talk about cars. Great. Now think 20 years from now, what can they do with cars? They can be a space shuttle driver. They can be a technology person. They can be NASCAR. They can do anything. Who knows? 20 years from now, do you know how cars are going to be? Flying cars. We're supposed to have them. Back to the Future lied to us. So other thing, drama, play, whatever it is, anything that they're passionate about. What you do is you only do this for the alphas. Alphas are specials. Sorry, this is reality. How many prime ministers do you have? 1. You don't get 7. How many presidents do we have? 1. There's alphas, there's betas. That's just how the world works. If you want to live in the world that the world should be the way your mind is, you're going to be upset at yourself for the next 70 years or so. So you give the kids an opportunity for a show. And you give them a show where they do in front of the kids. So if a kid loves talking about cars, then what you do is you give them, it's like show and tell, but it's only for them. Number 1, do you think your alpha would want to do it? Absolutely. Number 2, do you think that they can keep all the other kids engaged? Absolutely 100%. So everybody sits crisscross applesauce. This kid finally gets to talk about their vision and their passion. And they talk about cars or computers or this and that. Every day they're going to go home and research and study. And now you have something you can take away. Last one, fast forward testing. Here we go. So pattern interrupt, you get their attention. Pre-frame, you give them a hint. Power look, you shut down any emotional response that you're giving so that they don't continue the behavior. A unique positive reinforcer is their unique thing that they're going to show. And then what you do is you sit down with them and you say, did you love doing the show? And they go, oh, I've done this so many times. It is amazing when you can actually have a child demonstrate their gifts. So I have a child go, I loved it. It was great. Do you want to do it again? Look, so this is how you do it again. I don't tell kids, I don't care about words, actions. If you want to do the show every day, all you have to do is, and then you come up with 2 leadership things for them. You could be and something that doesn't exist, not something that you take off the board with the Velcro, a brand new thing, the high fiver, the acknowledger, the person when some kid gets their answer right, whatever, something unique to them, something that they love to do. Okay. And then what you do is you say, on the days that you want the show, do these 2 behaviors. So if you see the kid high-fiving everybody in the morning when they come in or saying good morning to every adult, every parent, then they want the show. And then this is what you do. You go, now listen, I know there's going to be some days that this will be 1 minute, I promise. So I know there's going to be days where you don't want to do the show. All you have to do is, and then you list the top 2 behaviors you want them to stop. So if you have a kid that tattles, you say, listen, or you have a kid that throws fits on the ground and does fake crying and screaming, whatever. You say, listen, on the days that you want to do the show, be the official high fiver or whatever other leadership responsibility. On the days that you don't want to do the show, throw a fit. On the days that you don't want to do a show, go tattletale. Here's the part, ready? Because most teachers give out consequences that they can't follow through. Fast forward testing is, let's get this out of the way. Go ahead and test me if you don't believe me. So what I do is, on the day that you want to do the show, leadership responsibilities. On the day that you don't want to do the show, pitch a fit, yell, scream, tattletale, whatever top 2 behaviors you want them to stop. And here you go. Ready? Here it is. Fast forward testing. And if you don't believe me, tattle right now. If you don't believe me, go on the ground right now and throw a fit. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to see this. I've seen this with 10 kids, and I blew directors' minds when they watched it. The kids' eyes to you are going to go up and to the left. In their mind, it's up and to the right. They're going to create pictures and stories. That's what we do when we lie. We go up and to the right, and we create something. If someone's telling you the truth, their eyes go up and to the left. Write that down. So what you do is they go up and to the right, and in their mind, they're visualizing themselves not getting the show on that day. And they go, I don't want that. And then their mind goes, I won't get the show if I do these two behaviors. And then they look at you and they go, I'm like, are you sure you don't want a tattletale? Like, no. Are you sure you don't want to throw a fit? No, because in their mind just went to, you're not going to trick me into not getting my show. I'm not going to tattle anymore. Watch. I'm not going to throw a fit. Watch. I'm going to be the nicest person. I want my show every day. And for the first time ever, your alpha chooses to stop the behaviors that you want them to because they want to. Scene.
Wow.
I'll come, Jacqueline. I'll come anywhere. I'm all over the planet. Bring me.
He's coming, guys. He's on the plane as soon as he can, I'm sure. First of all, Ron, to give you a second to just have a sip of water, breathe. You are getting so much love in the chat. I don't know if you've seen it right now, but
I have. I love it.
It's been phenomenal. So booking you in right after the webinar for the next one. Just so you know, we'll be back, folks. Let's start. We have time for about 2 or 3 questions here, and we've had a couple of good ones come through. So one of them here is, oh, hold on. Of course, I just lost the question in the chat here. Hold on. Here we go.
What if we should have it? I'm kidding.
I know, right? I've got it. What if we have an alpha who talks about villains and blood and guts all the time? We reframe, distract, guide to power heroes, but there's no avail. Any tips, tricks, comments?
Learn about them. Why they only talk about villains? What do you like about villains? I mean, I've been a Marvel and DC fan for years and years and years, and when I was watching pro wrestling, I would always cheer for the bad guy. You can make it mean whatever you want about future. Like your mind can go, oh, they're going to be killer. They're going to be this. They're going to be this. They're going to be that. They're just talking about it. Whatever. That's all that's happening. Are they actually hurting other kids? That's a question. Are they just talking? If they're just talking because they get attention from it, then that's it. Talk to them. Okay, why would you want to be how does it make sense to be a bad guy? Cool. What does it make sense to be a good guy? If the kid actually explains to you the benefits of being a villain and he actually makes sense, you're kind of stuck. Because villains don't have to go by rules. The villains can do whatever I want. I mean, I would prefer, if I had a choice, 100% be a villain. In a fake world. In this world, my job is to be the biggest hero. but in a fake world, until we discover this is nothing.
True.
Next question.
True,
and also,
true.
by the way, too, if you have any other questions, email me, reach out to me, and
100%.
I answer 100 questions. I love talking to people.
And we're going to make sure to connect you with all of Ron's ways of connection too. So please keep your eyes out for that in our show notes. And of course, I'm sure you'll find him on every piece of social media out there. So we'll get it out. Next question, any tips around like things to do with COVID right now? So I know one of the things is some places have said that singing is like a thing you can't do right now in the centers because of COVID. Any I know, I always, that's what I said. Why? Any tips around things that you've seen with COVID or dealing with COVID right now for teachers?
So I put that out there to the information source that I get stuff from. I mean, I would say that's weird with the singing. I have so many different on my YouTube channel, the thing in the middle right there, Ron Shuali's youtube.com. It's a forwarding. On my YouTube channel, there is a playlist that says Yogarati. There's about 15 different shows that I did during the pandemic and green screen stuff. I would just throw something like that on that's going to be engaging. Don't sing. I don't know. That's really difficult. Me not to sing. Like I have song in my heart. Try some breathing. I mean, in the Yogarati stuff, we go over belly breathing, cold breathing, fire breathing, jellyfish breathing. So there's a lot of breathing that they can do where they're not singing. I mean, are kids allowed to breathe? Is that?
I hope so.
Still,
is that a thing?
Is that a thing? I don't know. Singing. Somebody wrote singing makes you spit.
Oh, that's probably why. But if you're wearing a mask, I'm sure we could go off on a tangent about this one. Maybe let's not.
Wait a minute. So I've been spitting on people when I've been karaokeing from them? Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Just
Thank you,
saying.
Cassandra. Appreciate you.
There's tons of love, folks. We will definitely be scheduling Ron back again. One last question before we do send off with, I know a lot of folks don't want to leave, and we'll get there, but any more tips around children with disabilities, special needs, human powers? I always felt them that they being a human power as well, because they can just do things so uniquely.
Yes. This is future science. Like if I told you, like, 20 years ago, if you'd have a computer that can make phone calls and I can look at you and do this and do that, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. So future science in 20 years or so, we're going to really understand where our information comes from. All of a sudden, oh, I wonder how Susie's doing. And all of a sudden the phone rings and it's Susie. Oh, coincidence. No, your energy cords are connected. We're all connected to every human on the planet. Sometimes we can sever them, sometimes we can't. So if you don't know what to do in a situation, then you don't have the information in your brain. So look at other resources and quiet yourself. Just take a breath. Because I did this playing soccer one time. I wish I had time to tell the story. It's like 35 seconds. But
Do it.
What? Yeah,
do it. Tell it.
Okay.
Tell it.
So I was teaching soccer at one preschool, and there was one girl that was Billy, high energy. This I still talk to her. High energy, runs over the place, this and that, like that. There's another boy in my class where he just wouldn't get off his spot. I put a ball by him. He looks at it. He wouldn't get off his spot. Whatever. Billy's running all over the place. The teachers are with the kids, and I'm whatever. So I didn't know what to do. So I take my own coaching and go. And I hear, take his hand. Cool. I don't doubt anymore. I've had it happen way too many times that it's not. I take his hand. And then I hear, take Billy's hand. I go, Billy, roof, Billy. Come here. And she comes over here. So Billy takes my hand. The second my hand touches him, this kid from looking down, looks up, starts kicking the soccer ball. And when I'm doing, like, I'm feeling energy between my hands, like my hands are turning on. And basically, have you ever seen, there was a doll that used to be part of Discovery Toys that was an electrical doll where if you had the hands, I don't know why, I love that doll. They don't do it. I yell at every single person I see at every conference. Where you hold on to one hand and then you hold on to the other hand. And when there's an electrical current, then it starts doing a tune. So I would do that in circle time, and you'd have the alphas, the testers, that were, I'm holding the doll's hand, and it would go around like that, whatever. So the kids would test it. So it's energy. So basically, Billy then calmed to a point where I guess I must have been transferring her energy into this kid. And then what happened? Somebody kicked the ball, and I had to move, and I let go of Billy's hand, and the kid just went like that. And I went, yo, I got so intrigued. I'm like, there's got to be so much more to this, which is why, like, I'm all about energy work and really understanding how to communicate. Like, I want to learn the psychic stuff, the universal, the energy stuff, and the regular, Maslow's theory and Piaget and Erickson, all that great stuff too.
Ron, it has been such a pleasure. I think I've giggled probably 99.9% of the webinar, and I could probably say that everyone else on the webinar has also been laughing this entire time. But you've been so much energy. B, you've just been so thoughtful in the things that you've been giving out and the ideas and tips and tricks and techniques. And I know so many of the folks who are attending today are going to take away some big things today and actually implement them in the classroom. I want to give you one more minute, though. Do you have any last pieces of words, advice, wisdom, or just love you want to send to everybody who's joined us today?
There's something called the Ho'oponopono prayer. Have you ever heard of it? It's
No.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And there's a place down here in Florida that I do a lot of different workshops at, where I'm the student there, rage workshops, different things like that. And that's one that I learned from there. You're going to make mistakes in life. You're going to yell at kids. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Find a mirror, sit down in your car, look in your rearview mirror, look at your own eyes, and say, thank you. I love you. Like, I do it. I do my inner child work. I have my mirror right here. Romper, bumper, stomper, boo. But I do my inner child work, and it's Ho'oponopono. It's a lot of it. Just look it up on Google. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Because you're talking to inner child. When you make peace with your inner child, then your inner child starts to play with the kids that you work with, and you're not at work anymore. You're going to play every day.
Ron, thank you so much. You'll be hearing from me for round 2, let me tell you. It's been such a pleasure having you on. I can say that. I'm going to jump into some wrap up here, folks. I know lots of people have to hit the road, but we've had over 1,000 people on this webinar today. Yeah. So I'm super excited, but I always like to just give a quick plug. If anybody's looking into learning a little bit more about Hi Mama and the app and how you can use this at your center, please mention myself or Kaya when you give us a call in or schedule some time with us. We'd love to show there's so many pieces that you can use, as well as obviously access to all these fantastic webinars that we just love running and being able to give out to you guys. So please don't be shy. There's tons of people on our side. This is Julie, folks. She's on our team, but there's tons of things out there. Ron's on our podcast. He did a podcast with our Ron, our CEO Ron, not too long ago. But our blog posts, there's tons of articles as well. Just check everything out. And like I said, we're going to share everything of yours, Ron, your YouTube channel, your book as well. Please, I highly recommend. After this, now I'm going to have to purchase. All of this has been absolutely fantastic. But next week, expect the recording, everything I'll be sending out early next week to you folks. So please do keep an eye out with the certificate as well. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about social and emotional support and development next week. So I'm super excited to be bringing on our special guest next week, April 29th, same time, Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. I was going to say same place, but well, I'm always at home at this point. So same place. It's not changing at this point.
Same channel.
Same channel. We'll be here. Don't forget as well, check out our podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Kai likes to keep everything that's up in the news going out that way. So please don't be shy and check it all out, as well as join up in our Circle Time group. We'd love to have you there and talking a little bit more about what's happening in the education space. Thank you. Ron, thank you again for joining us, for taking the time to be here. From everyone at Hi Mama. Kaya, you've been on the chat, manning the chat. Any last words you want to leave the crew with too?
Oh, it was such a great session. I've only heard Ron through social media and on the podcast, so it was really great to actually have it all together here in this webinar. Is fantastic, and I just love the energy in the chat. So thank you everyone so much for coming out. And Ron, you were already booked in our system for the summer. Can't wait to have you back. You don't even know it yet. Surprise.
Sounds good to me. I'm just trying to read all the chats. If there's a way I can actually get like the chat thing, I'd love to actually be reading it to people, but either way. But thank you everyone. I appreciate you all. People are asking, I'll go anywhere, virtually, live, whatever, or both. I don't even know what that means, but
we'll figure it out at this point. Everyone, please stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Take some time for yourself as well. I know times have been really rough. I want to end up here. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend that's coming. Thank you again, Ron, Kaya. We'll see you on the other side next week, all. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everyone.